Hello and welcome. This is OK Comics. And it's been a while since I've made a video. And as a matter of fact, at the end of last year, kind of, I kind of looked back at what I had done the previous year and the previous 2 years, to be honest. And they are not the most productive thing in the world. And that, I'm not happy about that. So I decided to make the typical New Year's resolution. And my New Year's resolution was to finish at least 3 chapters or 3 issues of my comic and publish it somewhere online. And one of the free platforms, most likely Global Comics or The Duck or one of the other ones that have popped up recently. Not Webtoons. I don't think this is Webtoons material, but there are options. And I am pretty sure that I'm going to fail in my self-imposed goal, in my New Year's resolution. But at least it is a goal. It's something to try to work on to keep me going. And in today's day and age, when you have to document everything just so you are not accused of using AI, well, what better way to make some content, bring some new life to this little YouTube channel, and to record myself drawing pages of my comic from page 1 of issue 1. So don't don't say that I'm not showing you things from the very start. And that way, well, content is made, the comic is made, and I free myself of possible accusations of AI, which I don't think I'm going to ever get. Actually, traditional artists like myself are pretty much immune to that kind of suspicion. But still, you never know how sophisticated AI is going to get that you might want to record one of these every time you do something. Um, Now, what to talk about? Well, since this is the first video of the new batch, so to say, what better subject than to talk about the comic that I'm making? So, this comic is most likely going to be called Warriors of Badassia. And I say most likely because I have another title that I might end up using. I am 90% sure I'm going to stick with Warriors of Badassia, but there is a chance I may end up changing it at the last minute. And it is basically a loving homage to the Masters of the Universe mini comics. I cannot show you the full book because uh, my my camera is like um, just just a few inches away from the artwork. But talking about the classic He-Man mini comics that I read in my youth, in my childhood, which ended up pretty much influencing my taste not only in comics but in entertainment in general. So I love the format. So I'm kind of imitating it, not quite successfully. Um, those mini comics were 14 pages long, and I haven't been able to reduce my stories to that, so I'm making 16. I think it's a good compromise. And each one of my stories is an excuse to draw a fight or make a joke. And in some cases, well, if I'm lucky, both things. Uh, Mostly inspired by the He-Man mini comics and the old, very old Canadian cartoon, The Mighty Hercules, which is kind of famous for being very, very crappy, but I kind of love it. In an age where animation writers cannot tell a complete story in 12 episodes, those guys would give you a full adventure with a beginning, middle, and end in 4 minutes and a half. Bad as it may, bad as it may be, that's an achievement in itself, I think. Now, what is Warriors of Badassia about, actually? Well, it's a very simple fantasy story about the protectors of a walled city called Stronghold in a planet called Badassia that is extremely hostile. So, mutant warbands, evil warlords, sorcerers, killer robots from ancient wars, that sort of thing. It's kind of a semi post apocalyptic thing. The idea is, barren wasteland of a planet where everybody's fighting all the time, kind of like early He Man mini comics. Um, and Well, yeah, I've always felt that the post apocalyptic subgenre is kind of a very cool combination of sword and sorcery and western with cooler weapons and gadgets. So it's a very good excuse for a fantasy sandbox world where you can do pretty much whatever you want. And I keep on thinking of something that I want to say, and I keep forgetting it the second I finish the sentence I'm on. It's horrible. But yeah, that's basically what this is about. So basically, it is the story of the Stronghold Sentinels, their adventures, and each issue is going to be a self-contained adventure, 16 pages long, um, beginning, middle, and end. Nothing deep, nothing philosophical, just heroes find bad guys, heroes fight bad guys, heroes win with humbly the best art that I can produce at the time, which may not be much, but well, is what I can do. And as you can probably tell, one of the goals that I have with this little project is to draw the biggest, the beefiest guys and the most opulent females ever. Um, I'm really going in for the exaggeration in anatomy. Um, because it's my comic, so I can do what I want. Just like it's my video, and I can do what I want since nobody's going to watch it. I apologize for the barking. Those are my dogs. There's not much that I can do about that, but hope that they shut up soon. So these guys, like I said, live in a walled city, and they have, since the environment is so hostile, they have to pretty much evolve into these hulking monstrosities, and they have developed a sort of warrior culture, kind of like Marvel's Asgardians or the four-arm race from Ben 10. That sort of dynamic, where they're big, beefy, and pretty much all they do is fight. Yeah, I like that. And so that's what it's going to be. I initially had another story thought out for the first issue, but there was no way that I could fit it in 16 pages. It was showing, it needed to show too much, be too much. So I switched it, and when I start working on that story, I will tell you, so you can see the difference. But I think this can be a very good issue, a very good first issue. Well, using the concept of good very flexibly, really, because my goal is not really to make something good. I want to make something fun, that's true, but I'm not terribly worried about the artistic quality of the whole thing. It's more like something that I want to make because I want it to exist despite how crappy it's going to be. And this is obviously my main protagonist. His name is Membro. Tell me if you can see where the pun is. And this is the one character that I can draw pretty much with my eyes closed. I know his costume left and right. So that's no big deal. The girl is called Anima, and she's a little more complicated. I need to define her costume, to finalize the definition of her costume, and then reference that. Like, this is kind of the basis, but there are still things that might be subject to change, um, which is the reason why not committing to inks too early is also kind of important, so that you don't end up committing to costume design that you really don't like. I have a theory, though, that whenever you design something, if you try to change it and you go back to the way it was before, that means that that's the right way. Then that means that you have found the character. That I call that solving the design. The design is solved when it naturally goes back to how it was before you tried to change it, which is what has happened several times with Mambro himself. So I decided to quit trying to change him into something else. And that's the reason why I can draw him without really referencing myself. But in further videos, you might see me drawing next to character sheets of the characters, so that I draw them consistently from one panel to the next. What I like about this story in particular is that it allows me to give the exposition, but start with an impactful picture instead of starting with, the typical panoramic shot of the city and the explanation of how the world works, which can be kind of boring. No, here I'm starting with a fight. and that sets the tone in a much more interesting way, I think. I mean, I am fully aware that I'm not talking to develop worlds that are interesting by themselves, if that makes any sense. So I kind of have to go for flashing the big beefy guys and the big titty girl. I hope that YouTube doesn't take the video down because of that. Although I doubt even YouTube is seeing what I'm doing. But you never know. Algorithms sometimes don't depend on human function. God damn it, that dog is annoying. Okay. So I think that's as far as I can go today. It's still quite some progress. I have drawn this page several times, so it's no wonder it comes so easily. This is going to be the space for the title of the story itself. So yeah, I think it's looking relatively nice, and I'm going to leave it at that because I don't know how much memory do I have left in my phone. But I think we're on the right track, and well, let's see. Let's see how often can I make some of these. I'm also, of course, terribly overdue on commissions, but I cannot record myself doing commissions. That's something that I'm not going to do. I think I owe my clients at least that level of respect in not doing that. And if you want to see these videos pretty much right after they're made, and if you want to be able to read the result of these, if you want to be able to read the comic once I do it, and maybe months before I release it on online platforms, you can sign to my Patreon for $4 a month. You will have access to all of the behind the scenes stuff, and you will be able to read all of the finished comics there without any additional purchase. So without further ado, and before that damn dog finishes driving me crazy, I'm going to sign off. If you have any question, you can put it in the comments, and I'll try to reply relatively soon in another video. So I guess we have a pretty nice picture here, and by drawing it on camera, I'm proving that I'm not a robot. So I guess we can leave it. We can leave it there for today, and start putting some time into making my overdue commissions. Thank you for your patience. All right, so without further ado, this was OK Comics signing off. See you in the next one.